I'm Scott, and this is 60 Minutes. First, we'll be discussing the mass hysteria present during the Salem witch trials in the 1660s. We'll be going to our expert Steve Colbert for this one. Live.
Thanks, Steve. Much of what we know here at 60 Minutes about the Crucible is due to the writer, Arthur Miller. He introduced us to the Salem witch trials with his incredible play. From his play, we know of the mass hysteria caused by accusations, even though there was no evidence to base them off of. We've come here today to check out a modern reenactment of the scene. Here, we'll go check it out right now.
That's a really nice balloon she has there. I think I want it. Since she's an outsider, it'll be easy to accuse her of witchcraft. How convenient. Hey, everyone! I saw her flying.
No, you didn't.
She's guilty of witchcraft.
No, you leave
Yes.
me alone. No.
Yes, I'm taking away your balloon and your stick.
How do you know I flew?
For
You
concentration.
don't know it.
Yes, I do.
You don't know anything.
I saw her working
No,
with Lucifer.
give it back.
I saw her come to me.
No. No.
This is some good spectral evidence.
No. No.
Yes.
No. No.
She has a hobble.
No. No. No.
Stay down.
No. No.
As you can see in that beautiful reenactment of the Salem witch trials, people are accused of nothing more than spectral evidence. These accusations were influenced by greed and selfishness. People like Abigail used them to get what they wanted. And this way, they could just accuse whoever they wanted and nobody even knew that their evidence was fake. Next on 60 Minutes, we will talk about the McCarthyism.
It's getting windy out here. Whoa! Well, moving on to McCarthyism. McCarthyism is pretty intense in that it was a guy named John McCarthy, who was senator of Wisconsin, who accused a bunch of Democrats, Jews, and people in the entertainment business of acting as if they were communists. Those people that were then accused were then sent before HUAC, House of Un-American Activities Committee, and then they were tried in front of that committee. After that, they were either sent to jail or they were blacklisted, which means they can't get a job. Arthur Miller was accused of this because of his play, The Crucible, which made a direct connection to McCarthyism. McCarthyism found this very disliking, so they sent him before court, and he was blacklisted. Now, on to our on-site reenactment. How convenient it's on the same day as the Salem witch trial reenactment of McCarthyism.
Great work, people. Great work. Way to get down to business. And Sharon, I loved your effort today. It was beautiful. Go get a latte. Go be back in 5. Take 5, people. Great job. Okay.
Oh, Robert Downey, you were under arrest, and the question for communism activities.
Your evidence. You have none. You just can't. No. I have a movie to produce. What are you doing?
Oh my.
A few accounts of Ebola in the United States, in Texas, and a few in New York. These accounts are separated and few in number. The accounts consist of only a few, only a couple victims who show signs, but then are quarantined before anyone else can be affected. Now we will go and see if we can find any Ebola victims today.
I'm taking a stroll in the park today. Ooh, what a pretty Christmas tree.
He must have Ebola! No! Quarantine him!
I'm fine, I swear, I'm
Blessed
fine.
with the Holy Spirit.
With the Holy Spirit.
Quarantine. Quarantine. So, now that we've seen the overview of the Crucible, McCarthyism, and Ebola, we can make some certain comparisons on them. The first comparison we need to make is who helped fuel the fire of each of these hysterias. For the Crucible, accused victims that kept naming names of other so-called witches, that's what fueled the fire for the Crucible. For McCarthyism, other politicians like McCarthy, who also wanted to gain in power, started accusing Democrats, movie producers, and people like Arthur Miller of communism. The media helped fuel the fire by saying how you could not see symptoms even up to 21 days after you got Ebola. These kind of statements caused the population to go into hysteria.
Here's another comparison for you. We're going to be talking about the primary emotional components between each individual event. So each of them based the hysteria off of one basic component, which was fear. Fear was present in the Salem witch trials as people were afraid of things they could not see, and that was witches and being with Lucifer. The fear present in McCarthyism was due to communism. People were afraid of communism spreading to the United States and taking over the US government. This is known as the Red Scare. They didn't want World War II to kind of develop in the United States. So they just resulted to the HUAC. Fear is a primary component in the Ebola outbreak, as we cannot see Ebola present in everyday life. When someone coughs on an airplane, per se, people are automatically going to assume it's Ebola, as they cannot see if that person has Ebola or not without an actual test. So as a result, we're going to get people who are freaking out.
Another parallel between Ebola, the Crucible, and McCarthyism is the first victims that were attacked by this hysteria. For the Crucible, they were low-class citizens such as bums. For McCarthyism, they were entertainment people and Jewish people. In Ebola, the first victims were not based off of class, but based off of travel history. People coming from Africa or people that were in touch with them were the first victims. The last comparison between the Crucible, Ebola, and McCarthyism is the results of being accused. For the Crucible, you were brought before the court where you had to defend against spectral evidence. To save yourself, you also had to give out names of other witches. For McCarthyism, you were suspected to be a communist, and you were brought before the HUAC court to a hearing. Once you were brought before court, your reputation was permanently damaged, and you had to name other communists to reduce jail time.
Now it's time for a musical interlude with Luke.
Hey, hey, hey. One last time, I need.
There's no strings on this one.
Baby, lock them doors and turn them locked.
Hey, hey, hey.
Well, that's the bell. We all know what that means. Another amazing parallel. Well, this one is going to be brought to you by Scott Pele, and it's the reaction of the community in each of our individual events. The reaction of the community was that people actually just flipped out. They brought into everything that the people in power were saying, and pretty much bought it hook, line, and sinker for everything they said. Everything that Abigail said, people worshipped as if it was God. This comparison to Abigail pretty much sums up how everyone felt about her. Everyone kind of bought into exactly what she was saying. Now, onto McCarthyism. McCarthyism and the reaction of the community was very, very supporting towards HUAC. People continue to support HUAC, as this is evident when Arthur Miller says people looked at him differently. People assumed that he was guilty of communism. They bought into what McCarthy was saying. The reaction of the community in the Ebola outbreak was similar to that of McCarthyism and the Salem witch trials. People in America took extra precautions, and they pretty much locked themselves in their houses, or they just put face guards on. The public pretty much blew up anything that was about Ebola in the USA.
This has been 60 Minutes with Sam Hakes and Bryce Johnson.